T.A. Moore, and I'm going to talk to you a little bit about the 10-1 defense, and I'm going to tell you just a little bit about it to get started here before we get looking at the X's and O's, and that's what I'm going to do mostly. I'm not going to stand up here and just give you a lot of talking, but I'm going to tell you about this thing just a little bit. We've had great success with the 10-1 defense, and we came up with this thing a long time ago. Matter of fact, in 1968, we were running the gap 8 defense. Most of you know what that is, I know. That was the old-timey defense that's used on goal line. That's what we did. And we were playing a team that had a great running back, couldn't throw the ball across this room, and so we started using the 10-1. And all it was a gap 8, and we brought the secondary up and ran a man cover, jumped all over them on the line of scrimmage. And the first time we ran this thing in a game other than just on goal line, we had great success. And that was against the team that I was telling you about. They were real good. We didn't have a chance to play with them. We wound up beating them 6-0 because they didn't know what we were doing. But we didn't go ahead and run it a whole lot because we just didn't have it perfected, didn't have it down to the point that we felt like we could use it. Until 1974. 1974, we had a team, we had a bunch of little bitty guys, and I mean they were little, but they were quick, they were fast, they were go-getters, they wanted to play. And we took that thing and we were playing Allen down here, and Allen was kind of like the same situation I was telling you about this other game. Allen had a young man named Mark Beatty that was a tailback, and he was good. He went on to play college ball, was a star there, but he was about 210 and about 4'5" then. And he was an exceptional football player. And we went down to play them. They were a lot larger school than us, and this was a non-conference game. We went down to play them. We worked all week on this, and we were kind of scared because this is the first time that we'd used this 10-1 right out in the middle of the field. The first play, after we kicked off, they ran the ball back about 30. First play, they hand the ball off to Mark Beatty. He goes over to tackle 3 people, hit him on the line of scrimmage. He shakes them off, goes 70 yards for a touchdown. I called the kids over the sideline and said, look, we can drop out of this, go back to our regular defense, which was 26, and we can do all of our keying and our stunting and all those kind of things that we've been doing. And maybe we can slow them down. And the kid said, no, coach, please let us play this thing, please. So we went ahead and played the rest of the ball game. Allen made 2 first downs the rest of the game. They made 2 first downs the rest of the ball game. We lost the ball game 7-6. But that night, we found out that we could take a bunch of little scrappy boys and play with anybody. We were outmanned, we were outsized, we were out everything, except we played them off for feet. And the main reason they didn't know what really was happening because the kids were so quick. And that was the night that I guess the 10-1 was born as far as we were concerned, because we used it from then on. And we won one state championship that year in 1974. And started a 27-game streak, which carried us to that state championship and all the way to the semifinals the next year, using that 10-1. And we were doing it with a bunch of little guys that were real small, real quick, but they were real dedicated. One thing I think you have to run the 10, is to have a bunch of old kids that love to play, that are just ready to get out there and get after it. And if they'll do that, they can play. Of course, if you do that, you can play a lot of defensive folks. But this defense, you've got to be able to put 11 people on there that's going to go wide open. If you don't, you're going to be in trouble. And it's been called a sickle defense. It's been called everything under the sun. I guess one of the biggest things that I thought was a plus for us, we went to Sherman. Sherman's a 5A school in 1985. And the first ball game, we were playing games when we were 40-point underdog. And we won the ball game 10-0 using this 10-1 defense. And we'd gone all the way from a Class B school all the way to 5A school using the same defense. But I never will forget the write-up that come out in the games and play after the ball game. It was about that wild defense. They called us Riverboat Gambler because of the kind of defense we were running. Well, that's the kind of defense we've been running for a long time. But they couldn't understand it. But it's just a sickle defense and keeps you off balance. Let me just start to tell you a little bit about it. I'm going to try not to ramble around a whole lot because I think, you're getting this tape to try to see if what we're doing can help you. And folks, I think it can if you have got a bunch of guys that will really get after it. If they're not going to get after it, you can't run this defense. You'll get scored on a whole lot. But we have been successful with it. We had a picture on the front of our playbook a few years back about defense. We emphasize defense, but we lost 14 games in 14 3 different schools using this defense. And on the front of our playbook, it just simply said 14 losses, 14 years, one reason. That's defense. And this is the key to the defense. Our base defense is 26. And we go from there, we shift into the 10. And I'm going to show you on the blackboard what our base defense was, and I'll give you some of our terminology, and then I'll show you how we shift into this thing. And the first thing that we're going to talk about is just defense in a regular old double tight full house backfield. You're not going to see a whole lot of these anymore, but I'm making some circles here so you can see them on this wide board. But you know, this is the front 7 for an offense. Our base defense, our defensive end, our strong end, we call him a bear. We call this one a strong tackle. We call this one a quick tackle. And we just call this end quick. And then we do like a lot of people. We've got Sam, Mike, and Willie right there. You know, getting the force poke, we got a corner right here, free safety right here. We can call it strong safety there, corner right here, however you want to call it. But that's just basic old defense right there. That's what we call 26. That's our base defense. We've run it for years and years and years and had good success with it. But that defense doesn't give us an advantage like the 10 does. And I'll show you what we do when we go to the 10. When we go to the 10, we slide this strong tackle right in the A-gap, right there. Quick tackle in the A-gap, right there. Sam comes into B-gap. Willie comes into B-gap. Quick end goes into C. Bear goes into C. Okay, what we usually do, we have this corner take the first man, number 1 receiver to that side, man to man. So what we would do right here, bring that corner up right man to man on him. And he's got the jetty right good. He's going to come right in there. We're going to bring the strong safety up to right here. Now I'm doing this, we're saying they're just in an old full house backfield back here, like this. On the side, this side, we're doing the same thing. We're coming up here, he's got it man to man. Free safety, come up here, right there. There's where your 10-1 actually comes in. You got 10 men across the line of scrimmage, and you got the middle backer right here. And really what you're doing is keeping that middle backer protected. Nobody's going to be able to get to him, and he's got a lot of tackles one-on-one. You got to have a good middle backer. You got to have a good backer if you don't have any defense. But this guy needs to have speed, but the main thing he needs to be is a real competitor. This guy right here is a big key. But this is our base 10-1. This is what we started doing. When we first started running the 10, that's what we were running. We were seeing a lot of offenses at that time that were just full house, double tight offenses. You don't see a lot of that anymore. But that's how you line up. And let me go ahead and tell you how we penetrate. We always have the right, if it's man on this side, our inside foot. We have our inside foot up. Our inside foot up. And we have our nose down to the ground, and we're in a 4-point stance, inside foot up, and when the ball snap, we angle right there. We push with that right foot to meet that block, and then try to straighten us up right through there. We do the same thing right here. We do the same thing right there. We do the same thing right here, right here, right here. Now, you know, I don't know what your rules are, but most of them's going to have a rule of the first blocking rule is going to be a man head on. If you got this guy, and he's right up on top of this guy in a 2-point stance, he's probably going to block there. That means he's free. If he blocks down, he just pushes him down and he goes. This man right here is keying here. If he comes, he comes. So what you've got is just a defense that's going to get a lot of penetration. Now, when you first look at it on the blackboard, you're going to say, man, I can beat that. Yeah, you can beat that. You get a piece of chalk, you can beat any defense. But folks, you get 11 guys scratching and clawing trying to get a piece of you, and you'll find out that this defense put a lot of pressure on it. The thing that'll kill 90% of the offenses is penetration right through here. You get penetration and pressure in high school especially, and it will kill most any offense. And you may run into somebody that can handle it. It's been years and we haven't run into a lot of people that can handle it. And now we've run so long, people know what we're doing. We've got head coaches that's been on our staff in 6 of the high schools that are right around here close. And they're having tremendous success. Several of them are running this. What I'm saying now is They got to block every one of them. And if you got one guy that gets through right here, this one gets a good block, this one gets a good block, and this guy penetrates right here, there's problems. You know, if this one penetrates and this one don't, there's problems. There's been a lot of ways to try to block it. So you've got to offset some things, and we'll show you some ways in a minute that you can mix some things in with this. But this is the base 10-1 right here. You've got 10 men on the line of scrimmage right here as your one back. Okay, let me wipe this off, and I'll show you kind of how we would line up against some of these other places. I mean, these other formations. Secondary people, we need a little quick people that'll jump up. As you know, I heard one guy say that, you know, define them, so they just jump up and nest in whiskers. I don't know whether that's good terminology to use or not, but that's kind of what it means. You're getting close to them, and you're gonna take away everything quick and rely on the pressure to keep them throwing the deep pass. If they got time to throw a deep pass, you're in trouble probably, but you're in trouble on any offense if they got time to throw a deep pass. You got a good quarterback. Okay, we'll put this back up again. This time I'm gonna put a pro set up here. Got your tight end right here. Got your flanker out here. We're getting that set right there. Now I'm gonna say we're in our 26 and we're gonna go ahead and shift. We're gonna already show you after we've shifted to get into this. And we always shift, and we usually shift when the quarterback goes under the center. And the time we say shift, whether we're gonna shift or whether we're not. Because we try to keep them a little off balance. Sometimes we stay in our 26. Depending on what the game plan for that week is. But you got this tackle, this your strong tackles right there. You got your quick tackle right here. Sam is going to be right up in there. You got Will right there. You got Quick now standing up out here on the outside. You got Bear right there. We flip-flop Bear to the strong side because he's going to be a more physical person. Right here, you got your cornerback. And he's got a man-to-man right there. Your strong safety comes up right there. And he's got a man-to-man right there. You got your corner on this side, it's right up on the line of scrimmage, and he's got a man right there. You got your Mike backer right here, and it gives you a free safety. Now this is the way we've been playing it lately. You still could bring the free safety up there if you wanted to, but against the pro set defense, you leave it like this. Now if somebody goes in motion, free safety usually takes the third man out on the side anyway. If this guy goes in motion or if he swings, the free safety or Mike is going to take him depending on what we've got worked in for that week. But you've got these two guys that you can work in that area. You still have your penetration coming right here. These guys are doing exactly what they're supposed to do. This guy is coming hard outside in. And if you look across there, what you're trying to do is keep this guy free. Anything they do, this guy should be able to have a clear shot at him. If you've got running back and run over our middle backer, we're in trouble. Well, if you run over my middle backer, we're in trouble. Don't make any difference where we are. We've got to have somebody there that can tackle most anybody the other team has. But this is the way we line up in a 10-1 against the pro set defense. It'll be the same thing with the pro eye or the wideouts. If you get a 4-receiver set, you know, if you don't go to a one back, you bring this guy here, most times you're going to bring a free safety over, take him right there. Get that guy right there, Mike, and take him if he swings out. That would be coverage. Again, you're overloading from here to here. You're trying to overload it. You're putting so much pressure on that they don't have time to go out here and, you know, come over here and run a pick or something like that. They just don't have time to do that. Because if you hit that guy, and you hit that guy, and you hit that guy, he's going to be looking for you. One thing that we do right here, we do this 3 or 4 times, and we have another little deal where we kind of line up on the inside shoulder and then push with the outside foot and dive through and try to grab the quarterback's ankle before he gets out. And we try to irritate the quarterback. We try to get the quarterback's mind off of what he's doing. You'd be surprised how many fumble snaps this kind of stuff causes. And it's tremendous pressure on that quarterback if he's not a seasoned veteran quarterback. But this gives you an idea of what we do in the pro eye with just our regular 10. Let me show you a couple other things now. I'm I'm gonna throw some other things in here, and this defense is geared for pressure. If you don't get pressure, you better get out of it. If you're not gonna play a pressure defense, if you're not gonna back ears and get after them, you better get out of it. Now, I've showed you the 10-1. That's just old straight 10-1. We very seldom run just old 10-1 anymore because of the variations in offense that we see. A few years ago, we played a team over here that was a larger school than us, and they run defeated the year before, and they were good. I mean, they were good. They had talented athletes. They had running backs, they had quarterbacks, and they ran in fear. And we were playing those people, and nobody could even slow them down. And we had played them before and been able to beat them, but they had the athletes to beat most any defense. We were outmanned. So we came up at that time they were running a veer. We came up with what we call the 10-1 loop. And this is just a little old stunt, I guess you'd say. And I'm gonna show you this, and it worked real good, and then I'll show you what else we did to them. But we did this the first half against them. They ran that outside veer. Okay, we lined up in that thing, and we had old Bear right here, and we had Quick right out here. And on Bear's side, we had this was a strong safety right here. And of course we had Sam in here, and we had tackle right here. Okay, when we got these people, most everybody blocks down on it. They think if they block down, then they can option off this outside guy when you get an option team. And that's the thing that we hit so much. So what we did on this time, we took our linebackers, which was Sam and Will, and on the strong side, we made it a 10-1 loop. We just called it a 10-1 loop. And when we called it a 10-1 loop, the back, instead of firing into this guy right there, as soon as the ball snapped, he came right off the tail of that tackle. Just wide open. And we just did this on the strong side. We didn't do it over there because we didn't have a tight end. We had a double tight end, we do it on both sides. This guy lined up as if he was going to penetrate. As soon as the ball snapped, he just jumped up and came right back here. And we call this a 10-1 loop because we were just looping our backers outside. Very simple. Big thing was that you don't give it away. But this guy right here liked to kill this quarterback. The first play that we hit, we ran this thing, they ran inside veer like that. This guy came down and hit this man and knocked our Bear out. He hit him so hard. He knocked the far out of him. They fumbled the ball and we got it. That's the first play. Now I knocked our defensive end out because he hit the back right here was about 220. He was our fullback. He's a big guy, and this guy weighed 160. He came down and hit him on the knee with his head gear, knocked our man out, but it caused a fumble. We got football. Now, that was good, but you can't do that every time. That's a play that'll work sometimes on this thing. But the other thing that we did with this is what we call a 10-1 special. And the 10-1 special is what we did the second half of this team. We shut this team out 26-0. One of the biggest wins probably we ever had. But that was when we used this. This is when the special was born. We used the special for the first time that we ever used it in this ball game, and it really did a great job. It had the same effect as the regular old 10-1 because they thought they knew what we were doing. One of their coaches had coached with us. They thought they knew what we were doing on the 10-1. So what we did in the 10-1 special is we took our tackle and we took our strong tackle and made a nose guard out of it. We put this tackle right here. We had this end right here. We took still put little Sam right there, put Bear right there, and we took Will, which you could do it with Will or Sam, either one, but we took Will and stacked him right here, and we took Mike and stacked him right there. And we still came up with our strong safety here, with our corner here, with our corner here, and we still had a free safety back here. Now, first thing they think, well, that's a 5 was a man cover. I mean, maybe it is. Maybe that's what we ought to call it. We call it a 10-1 special, but we're still doing the same thing. We're going after them. And what we did right here was the same thing. We penetrated right here, we penetrated right here, but we tried to draw all three of these guys' blocks, all five of these guys' blocks on three people is really what we were trying to do, and it worked that particular night. This guy just played him right there. We had part of penetration right there, but we put a man-to-man right here. You know, if he comes, he comes. If he moves, he moves. And we shut him down. We shut down probably as good an offensive football team as I've ever seen in that on 3A level. They had two guys that went on that were great college football players. One of them was their tailback, one was their quarterback. But they didn't know what was taking place that night. And folks, that's one of the good things about this special. You can do some little things on your own, with your own imagination, depending on who you're playing, that just helps so much. It's like any defense. But this thing is pressure. And what you're going to come up with every time, you're going to get those people to working on something all week that they haven't been working on before. They're going to have to block it, and they're going to have to come up with a scheme to try to block your 10-1. Now, if you're running a base 26, that's going to make your 26 twice as good a defense, because they're going to be worrying about something that you're not going to do all the time. And they won't spend all week blocking your 26 and the stunts off of it and whatever. But this 10-1 special is, we use this thing, and we used it for the Veer. And I tell you, we had that ball game, we won that ball game, but we went on later and came up against Eastland in the state quarterfinals. And Eastland had Jay Hess at quarterback, who went ahead and went to A&M and then transferred to Iowa with Ty Heckenfry and played for him. They had a tackle that was 6'6", about 270, that played in the Southwest Conference. Both of their running backs, one of them played at West Texas State and the other played at UT El Paso. That's the kind of athletes they had in the backfield. We were playing them with a 125-pound fullback and a 130-pound tailback. And we had a good quarterback. But we were playing them on defense with some little bitty guys. Okay, what we had to do, Jay Hess was a great passer. They threw the ball all over everywhere. They threw the ball all over everywhere. And one of the great things they did is just like the pros, when they dropped back, you know, this guy was reading. If you didn't stun, he was out in this flat. If you didn't stun over here, he was out in this flat. They were going 5-on-5 across the blocks over there. We had to do something with this defense to get them off balance. Now, we'd already used the special some. They'd seen it. But we came up with a stunt on the special I'm going to show you, and it helped us that night tremendously. We took Mike, Willie, and our strong tackle, and we stood them all up right here, what we call this stunt. And we'll just say the strong tackle standing up, Mike's right there, Willie's right there. They're all lined up with their inside, the outside foot was back, because it's probably going to come down. And if I was Mike right there, this is center, I was going to be just like this, and I was running in place. Just running in place now. We played Eastland, they had a quarterback right there that was named the outstanding high school football player in Texas that year. If you go back, he was in 1982, he was named the high school player of the year in Texas in all classifications. He's playing right here. We line up with this thing right here, and we go up like we're going to go every time. And the first time we go up there, we just dive through, try to get a hand on him. And we didn't get him, but we scraped down his back. One of them scraped down his back, and we made him get out from under that center faster than he really wanted to. And all we were trying to do is get his attention, get his mind off of reading our defense and throwing that football like he could. Then the other thing that we did is we'd make out like we're going, and as soon as the ball snapped, we just drop back and play the defense. Tackle, go ahead and just play the nose, play soft nose, go to the ball. The next time we come up, we'd run in place, and this would go here, and this would shoot here, and he'd drop back and play. The next time, as you can tell, you might go here, and he'd drop back. So you see, you can play some games with it, but the reason we were doing that was to try to get some pressure on this quarterback. This guy's good. Now, we don't play a high school quarterback. I don't care how much longer I coach. I don't play one any better than him, I don't think. I mean, he was as good as there was. We didn't stop him, but we confused him. We got 2 fumbles off of it. He threw a couple of interceptions. We were able to go on and win a state championship in 81. We played him in 81 in the quarterfinals, I believe. I think I said 82. It was 81. He was one of the greatest high school quarterbacks that I've seen. And he came back in 1982. We won state championship in 81. We had a 42 42 game winning streak going. And in 1982, we lost to Eastland, broke our 42 game winning streak with Jay Hess at quarterback his senior year. They beat us 21-20, and they scored with 11 seconds to go and beat us 21-20. And we were playing them with a bunch of midgets, folks. We didn't have business being at 40 or 50 points up, and we had them beat. We had them beat. And we let them, they dumped one. You know, you always look at those things and say, man, that was luck. Well, I think that one was. But you know, they were on a roll. They had a great team, and they went ahead and won state. They didn't even have another close ball game other than that one. But this defense is what gave them all their trouble. This defense, we were playing in one night. That night, the night that we lost the ball game, and we almost won it. We had a little defensive end playing right here with 155 pounds. And they come up in a double tight. This guy right here. And they ran that dive right there on 4th and a half a yard. And we ran the loop. And this little 155 pound end went in and hit that 210 pound back right there. Nailed him for about a yard loss. I mean, just stood him up and dropped him right there because he came down so hard. And we like won the ball game. That was the big play that stopped him. And then they got the ball back and were able to score with 11 seconds to go to win the ball game. But what I'm telling you is, you can take this defense and you can play people that you don't have minutes playing. And I want to be able to play with everybody. I don't like this junk of lining up with somebody and saying, okay, you got the best athletes, you're better athletes than me, so you're going to win. That's a crock of bull. That's a crock of bull. You don't let somebody win just because they got better athletes than you. You just spend that much more time working, and you find something that's going to give you an advantage. The 10-1 has done that for us. It's been a great defense for us. I go back and look at films. Back in the 70s, 80s, we're doing the same thing that we've always done. And folks, we've had more compliments and more questions asked about the 10-1 defense than anything that I've ever been associated with in football. And we've never put it down on paper because there's not anything to put down on paper. And most people think that there's not. This is the first time we put it out, but I'm going to retire here for long. And I love it. But coaches that have worked with us, that have gone to other jobs, always wind up running it, and they always wind up winning. The one key, like I said, is having 11 guys on the field that'll scratch and claw and get a piece of the guy that's got the football. Folks, if you can get them to do that in any defense, it's going to be a good one. But that's what this defense is geared for. It's geared for the inferior athlete that's got the big heart. Folks, if you'll take those kind of guys, I'll play with them any day. I like to win games you're not supposed to win. I like to do things you're not supposed to do. I like to see a young man come in the dressing room after winning a ball game that he shouldn't even been in. I just like to see the look on his face. And I like to see the smile that he has because he knows he did something he didn't have any business doing. That's our job as coaches, is to give them an opportunity to do something they're not supposed to do. We're going to run some tape, show you some films, and some of these films of 5 or 6 years old, some of them 2 or 3 years old. But there's films on the 10, regular 10. There's films on the 10-1 loop. There's 10 films on the 10-1 special. And as a matter of fact, the special, we probably are going to show you more pictures of the special than any other, because when it boils down to it, we probably run the special now more than we run anything else, simply because of the wide open offenses that we hit. Let me tell you one other thing. I had this question asked at a coaching clinic. What are you going to do if they get in the shotgun? Well, I'll tell you what we did for years when they got in the shotgun. We automatically shifted back to our 26 because they're getting in the shotgun to offset the pass rush. But folks, let me tell you something. If you can get that other team that's been running the T and all that all year to change their whole offense for your defense, you've already got one strike against them. If they haven't been running the shotgun all year, they're not going to run it as good as they should. And you know that if they haven't been running it all year, you already know about it. You already have a defense set for it. So all we have is an automatic. Our old 26 is our old base defense, And any junk that comes out or anything, we shift back to that 26 because we've just got rules that will cover anything that anybody puts out there. May not be the best cover in the world, but we've got a plan for it, and I think that's what you better have. But give me a good old bunch of boys that weigh about 140, 50 pounds. You know, I'd like to have some weigh 200, but you give me some that'll just flat and get after it, that's got good strength, that want to play, that'll suck it up and get after it. We can play football with you. We get in that 10 and we'll put some pressure on it. And we'll do something to make you do some thinking on offense if you're going to move football. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me talk to you. I appreciate Bobby letting me make this video. And I hope that you've learned something, picked up something that maybe you can incorporate in your your defense, or maybe just use regular old 10. I'd try it, folks. It's been awful good to us. Thank you.